Good afternoon. My name is Christopher, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Noble SIPhony, an evolutionary solution for unified customer communications conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you should need any assistance during the call, please press star, then 0, and an operator will come back online to assist you. Thank you. Mr. Ron Chudwick, you may begin your conference.
Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to our presentation of the Noble SIPhony. My name is Ron Chudwick. I'm in the sales department of Noble Systems. I've been with Noble now over 4 years, primarily providing solutions in the Northeast U.S. marketplace. Before Noble, I spent over 20 years with various companies in the telecommunications and the telephony markets. I'd now like to introduce Chris Riccio to you. He's our Noble Systems Solutions Engineer from the West Coast. Chris?
Yeah, hi, Ron, and good morning and good afternoon. I see a couple of familiar names out there, so thank you for the introduction. My name is Chris Riccio. I am a solution engineer with Noble Systems. I've been with Noble Systems for 3 years, and my experience spans over 12 years of networking, telecommunications, and contact center architecture and design. So I'm excited to be here today.
Now, I'd like to give you a couple of house rules before we get started. The first one is that all your calls will be muted. If you have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A tab at the top of the screen, and we'll get to them and answer them at the end of our presentation. If we cannot answer all your questions during the webinar, we'll respond and get back to you directly. I'd like to give you and talk about today's agenda. What we're going to talk about are first the advantages of an all-IP contact center solution with the SIPhony platform. We're going to give you a general overview of what is SIPhony. We're going to then discuss the deployment options of the SIPhony platform. We're going to then talk about how you can migrate to a SIPhony solution. We're then going to talk about the cost-saving benefits that you'll get with implementing a SIPhony solution. We're going to wrap it up, summarize, and then we'll get to your questions at the end of the session. Now, Chris, what are the advantages of an all-IP solution utilizing the SIPhony platform?
Thanks, Ron. There are quite a few advantages of an all-IP solution, and hopefully we'll discover today how Noble helps impact your contact center operations. So the advantage of an all-IP solution, SIPhony, first of all, unifies your contact center communications within a single site or across multiple sites over existing networks. What that means is that SIPhony operates on the same network that exists in most environments, such as your applications. This can provide valuable productivity gains and cost savings. SIPhony also provides flexible deployment options to fit the needs of specific environments and existing technologies. Ron, what that really means is that in order to take advantage of SIPhony, it's not necessary to replace existing hardware or change your network at all. SIPhony also supports the smallest business, the medium-sized business, and scales up to the largest demands of the large enterprise solutions, growing up to 2,500 agents or more, keeping in mind that they're still on a unified single solution. Lastly, SIPhony's architecture also provides very flexible, cost-effective solutions for disaster recovery and business continuity plans, and we'll take a look at each of these options as we go through our presentation today. So first, Ron, I have a lot of information to share with you about SIPhony. We'll start with the basics here in terms of what is SIPhony. First, SIPhony is an all-IP contact center solution provided by Noble Systems, which is a voice-over IP solution which leverages the power of today's technology, more specifically SIP. SIPhony is IP-ready and plugs directly into your network, just like most servers you find in traditional environments today, servers, applications, and other processes. So it's no different than any other server out there, aside from the SIP technology, of course. Environments migrating to SIP can also take advantage of SIPhony while still maintaining and providing connectivity to standard PBXs as well as the equipment associated with those environments, and dial tone. So what we're going to be talking about today is how SIPhony interconnects not only to SIP to take advantage of voice over IP, but also how it connects to standard traditional PBX environments, as well as standard TDM dial tone and SIP dial tone. SIPhony can be deployed as a single site solution or multi-site solution. Its unified architecture, and this is an important point here, is that its unified architecture provides a cloud or umbrella that really creates one very large system which expands and spans over multiple sites, multiple servers, and this really has an effect of expanding the reach of agents, groups, campaigns, campaign management, and call routing across multiple sites and server. So even though we have distribution in some cases where you might have 3 to 10 different contact centers, it doesn't matter to SIPhony. SIPhony sees everything happening at all locations.
Now, Chris, when I meet with customers, more and more are asking me about utilizing the SIP technology to the network carrier because the existing network TDMs or T1s and the PRIs are so expensive. Is that correct?
That's certainly one of the benefits about that, and we'll talk about how we migrate and how we get there and some of the potential cost savings in utilizing a SIPhony solution. But yes.
Chris, what are the deployment options of utilizing the SIPhony platform?
Well, Ron, because of the architecture of SIPhony, there are quite a few deployment options. So I'm going to give you a high-level overview of how SIPhony sits in the network, what components are comprised of that, and exactly how you would distribute that across multiple sites. So let's start here with SIPhony from the very basics. SIPhony's solution actually consists of 3 primary components. One is you have the application server. Now, Ron, the application server is the server that holds all the contact center data and the Noble suite of applications and the screen pops for agents. The second component, which is new in the Noble architecture and certainly applies to SIPhony, is the universal telephony server. Now, this is an important component in SIPhony because this server provides the SIPhony cloud, which I'll show you, and we'll talk about that in detail in just a moment. It provides the cloud, or you can refer to it as an umbrella. Under that umbrella or cloud is the third component we find in SIPhony, which is the SIPhony telephony server. Now, the SIPhony telephony server handles all the dial tone, the dialing, routing, and call management in the contact center. So this is where you would actually connect your PRIs or your SIP trunks directly from the carrier. Now, here we see the single site distribution. This is a common distribution, and what I'm showing here is that in this single site distribution, you have 3 servers, and I've got the cloud that SIPhony creates highlighted in blue, and you see the agents under that cloud.
What about a 2-site SIPhony migration?
Well, migrating to SIPhony and bringing in multiple sites is actually very easily accomplished. Now, I'll give you some details on that, but here in this example that we put together are 2 sites, and if you'll notice, each site has its own SIPhony server. Now, in this depiction here, on the left we have Contact Center A, and remember we talked about the original 3 components of SIPhony. The SIPhony telephony server is creating the umbrella or cloud. So when I bring on site B, all that is required is to drop in a SIPhony server. Now you'll see that that SIPhony server becomes part of the overall cloud and umbrella, and what you'll notice is that agents in site B are now commingled and part of the same process of agents in site 1, regardless of their location. They don't have to be even centrally located. You could have one site in California and one site in New York, but as far as SIPhony is concerned, they're all one master site. So the SIPhony telephony server, the universal telephony server, creates the cloud and umbrella and manages activities across both servers, including groups, agents, campaigns, and all routing associated with contact centers. Even though each server is separate, they are part of the same cloud, and they function as one unified system.
Chris, I have a customer today that's looking to add a telemarketing center at their second location. One location today. The first location is utilizing traditional PRIs. They're looking to use a SIPhony with the SIP technology to the second location because the PRIs, again, are so expensive. This solution allows them to protect their original investment. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things to keep in mind when you're considering SIPhony is that many companies out there already have invested capital and have existing equipment invested in traditional PBXs that are all based on TDM or standard T1 technology. SIPhony easily drops into that environment because SIPhony can commingle with those existing architectures without replacing the hardware, thereby saving on the original investment. Absolutely.
You know, I'm also asked frequently about disaster recovery solutions, especially as customers grow. The SIPhony solution seems to be the one that provides a solution for less cost than a traditional TDM solution. Is that correct?
Oh, that's correct. One of the things that most folks that are looking to leverage their business and empower their business is they're looking at solutions just like they would look at any network. Do I have a redundant pathway to keep my contact center resilient? Now, in this example we have here, we've got our same two sites. We've got contact center A on the left and contact center B on the right. And remember, we added a SIPhony server to get contact center B under the same cloud. Well, Ron, the difference here is that in the middle, we've taken that same SIPhony server. Because it's on the network and talks freely on the network like any other server, I can put that SIPhony server anywhere in the network architecture. Now, in the example here, we put the server in a data center, but keep in mind it can be anywhere on the system, deployed anywhere in the network. Now, the difference with this disaster recovery plan is that in terms of traditional PRIs, if I have a disaster plan, if I'm using standard PRIs, if I wanted to consider Site B the disaster recovery, you would really have to have T1s and PRIs in both locations. Well, SIPhony changes that. So here in the center, we drop in a SIPhony server, which has connectivity directly to SIPhony carriers for dial tone. Many of those SIPhony carriers for dial tone have servicing plans which are pay on demand, or simply put, you pay for it only when you use it. This makes SIPhony a highly thought after solution because if I want to provide a disaster recovery plan or business continuity plan, I can drop in a server anywhere on the network connected to a SIP network for dial tone. Now let's say I lose dial tone in Site A or Site B. SIPhony doesn't care because SIPhony is aware of what's happening across the network. So if dial tone goes down in Site B, SIPhony says, that's fine. I have a server at the disaster recovery data center, and I'm going to go ahead and start grabbing dial tone from that server. Because I'm only paying for the dial tone I use, SIPhony deployed in this fashion is a cost-effective solution for maintaining resiliency without having to maintain all those additional PRIs. And again, you can put that SIPhony server anywhere and consider it standby. So again, here where we see the SIPhony server deployed as a standby server for redundancy in the center, although it is considered a standby resource, it is part of the SIPhony cloud and umbrella and part of the overall system. And the main point is, I don't pay for that dial tone until I use it.
Boy, Chris, that's great for disaster recovery type solutions. What about scalability with the SIPhony platform?
Well, SIPhony does scale quite well. Let's start with our previous example where I added one site. I simply dropped in a single server. Now let's look at this scaling model that we put together. At the very top is your application server. Now remember, with SIPhony, the application server maintains all the application data for the contact center. Now here's the important points. The application server can talk to 20 different and separate universal telephony servers, and that's what's in green here. The universal telephony server creates the umbrella and the cloud. Each of those telephony servers can talk and manage to 20 SIPhony telephony servers. That's what's depicted in orange. Remember, the SIPhony telephony servers have all of the dial tone, and they support the agents. And each of those telephony servers in orange can support up to 150 agents. So if you do the math starting at the top, 20 times 20 times 150 is quite a scalable solution, and keeping in mind it's a unified contact center solution, so it grows quite well and very easily.
Boy, it sure does. You know, I'm also being asked, how do we migrate to a SIPhony solution?
Well, migration to SIPhony can be tricky, at least in the minds of some, but it's actually quite simple. In addition to its core SIP technology, and SIPhony is based on SIP technology and voice over IP, SIPhony integrates easily to voice over IP environments and integrates well with TDM and PBX environments, which really gives the options to integrate with multiple different types of IP PBX environments and platforms, as well as multiple different types of TDM PBX environments. Now, the SIPhony server, Ron, is software-based. However, SIPhony also has the ability to include standard T1 modules that connect directly to non-IP agents or existing TDM or non-IP PBXs. This allows SIPhony really to become part of any VoIP architecture or any TDM PBX environment. SIPhony also supports, as we said, standard T1s for dial tone out to the public network, as well as SIP dial tone carriers. Now, remember, often SIP dial tone carriers have pay-as-you-go plans. SIPhony is currently certified with prominent industry SIP dial tone providers today, so clients can take advantage of mixing both technologies where they see fit. SIPhony can blend both technologies simultaneously on a solution, creating a hybrid solution and flexibility for clients. So clients can migrate slowly as they see fit and as new contact centers come on board, and as they see fit to change their PRIs out for standard SIP trunking.
Well, that's great, Chris. What are the cost-saving benefits of implementing the SIPhony platform?
Well, Ron, there are potentially many cost-saving benefits. I'm going to go ahead and try and put these into simple bullet points here. Because SIPhony can be used and is typically used across multiple sites or in a single site. But in the case of multiple sites, you can centralize and streamline management of contact center functionality. This includes managing dial tone, managing campaigns, managing agents and groups, and this can improve overall contact center functionality and efficiencies, potentially with less management. So, Ron, in cases where I might have 3 separate contact centers, typically that might take 3 separate managers to manage those independently. SIPhony allows customers to centralize their management to one central hub, freeing those managers to do other tasks, and quite frankly could require less management to manage the enterprise. The ability to unify campaigns and groups and agents across multiple sites can also enhance contact center efficiencies. For example, I could have a group of agents in 1 site or 3 sites. Because SIPhony has awareness of agents and work activity across multiple sites, if a call comes into 1 site where all agents are busy, SIPhony knows an agent is available in another site that might otherwise be having downtime. This could impact contact center performance because those resources are shared, and that's a key component, and the caller experience is increased, which may require less contact center staffing. Lastly, one of the benefits is that many communications platforms and IP-based contact centers are becoming part of the traditional data network. This allows telecom experts to broaden their field of knowledge and skills into the networking subset, which can increase the knowledge base for clients that typically maintain separate individuals, and that knowledge base alone can increase the knowledgeable staff, which could reduce maintenance and servicing demands.
Chris, also, as I see it, another cost-saving benefit is that these customers do not have to change out their existing environments. It kind of protects their investments. A lot of these customers are using voice over IP today with SIP technology to the agent workstations, but they're now looking to deploy SIP technology to the carrier networks, and therefore, eliminating or lowering the cost of the PRIs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the key benefits is that SIPhony allows you to migrate slowly, as also to take advantage of opportunities and cost-saving opportunities in terms of telecom expenses as well as other resources in the contact center. So yes, that's true.
Well, I think it's time probably to wrap it up and summarize. The first one, SIPhony unifies all aspects of the contact centers.
Oh, that's true. And keep in mind that the key points here is that it unifies everything about the contact centers across multiple sites. That includes dial tone, management resources, as well as contact center campaigns and agent resources, and really call routing.
And second, the SIPhony also simplifies deployment, including cost-effective disaster recovery options.
True. I showed you, and we talked about how adding additional sites simply is a matter of adding additional SIPhony servers, and because those servers sit anywhere in the network, you can deploy a SIPhony server as a disaster recovery standby option.
Right, and of course the SIPhony supports systems with as little as a few agents, or systems that could grow to 1,000 agents.
Absolutely. For the smallest customer of 8 agents all the way up to the demands of enterprise solutions that require thousands of agents, SIPhony is easily deployed by adding servers to each location. And remember that all of the servers, whether I have 1 or 20, are under the same umbrella. So Ron, how do others learn more about SIPhony?
Well, if you're a Noble contact, you could contact your sales account manager. You should have one.
Okay, and if I'm not a Noble client?
Well, then you could contact Noble Direct. You could contact us at 1-888-8-NOBLE.8 or at our website, which is www.noblesys.com.
Great.
I guess now it's time to look at the questions and see what type of questions we have.
Okay, I see a couple of questions here, Ron. Let me see. Let me go through these here. We did receive one question that says, do I keep all my existing hardware? The short answer is yes. SIPhony does not require any customer to displace what they currently have, and SIPhony easily connects to EDM environments as well as existing IP environments. I do see another question here is, can you explain the disaster recovery options? One of the things that is really important in terms of contact centers, especially with regard to IP technology, is that more folks are looking at contact centers to have the disaster recovery options as you would typically see in contact centers or in data environments. So if I have a SIPhony deployment in one location, I could put in a separate SIPhony server anywhere in the network, and that server can be in standby or considered a standby resource. Now, at that time, you might connect it to a SIP provider that is a pay-for-as-you-use or pay-as-you-go. So if I lose connectivity to dial tone in the primary site, the resources are only engaged for dial tone at the secondary site, so you only pay for what you use. So providing the disaster recovery option is easy by deploying a single SIPhony server or multiple SIPhony servers. I do have another question I see here.
I have one too.
Okay.
It says, does the contact data get replicated to all SIPhony servers?
The information is shared among all SIPhony servers, and it's universally controlled. That's correct.
Or does the data get routed as needed?
No, it's all centrally managed within one system. They're all keeping in sync, and the universal telephony server manages activity across all systems, so it's as though they're one unified system. I do show another question here, Ron, that says, I have 2 contact centers, but they don't talk to each other now. How can SIPhony help? Well, in the case where you have two contact centers that don't talk to each other, I can drop in a SIPhony server that can act as the bridge or gateway to communicate with those centers. So, for example, if I have a standard PBX in one location and I want to have a secondary location connect to them, drop in a SIPhony server, I'm connected across the network. Now those agents become part of the same cloud. The last question I'm seeing here is, I don't have a telecom engineer. Can my network guy manage this? The answer is yes. Because of SIPhony's architecture and because we're really utilizing voice over IP technology, a data networking specialist can manage SIPhony because SIPhony becomes part of the same network infrastructure and cloud.
I have another one here too, Chris. It says, how does your solution provide QoS, especially for voice quality?
QoS is managed at the router level, and the codecs that are chosen, the codec is a term that is utilized to compress the voice over IP. So you have different codec options built into the solution. For the techie guys, the G729, G711, and GSM, for example, are commonly supported. Leveraging QoS, you can ensure the voice quality across the network.
Well, I guess that's all the questions we have, or I see, unless anybody has any more to add, but I think that's the last question.
Okay, I don't see any more questions, Ron. Again, contact your sales specialist to get more information. I'm certainly available if questions come my way to answer questions about SIPhony, but I'm really excited about SIPhony and its architecture because of the deployment options and interconnectivity and integration options available.
Now, there will be a recording of this session available for the future. You just, again, look up on our website, the Noble website at www.noblesys.com, and in the future we'll have a recording of